Hey, Real Green Ninja here. The video you're about to watch is a supplement to the existing tutorials and help videos already available on the Real Green website. I do take a more casual approach because I'm presenting this information as I would if you called in, although I may have a little fun with it. This video is based upon the information I, as a Real Green technician, would provide using my experience on the help desk. This video was created on my own time to assist with areas of the software that may be waiting for an official help video or tutorial. At the beginning of the training video, I will have the version of the Service Assistant the video was made with. I will also try to be as accurate as possible, but be aware, as Service Assistant updates are released, things may change. I'm using the name Real Green Ninja as not to stand out from the other amazing technicians that I work with. I hope the information in this video helps you, so grab a cup of coffee, and I hope you learn something new. Hey, Real Green Ninja here. Today we're going to do a tour of the hosted environment. This is for those clients that have the hosted version of Service Assistant, so let's begin. Now, I've already logged into the hosted environment. So when you're on a hosted computer, or when you were using the hosted environment, it doesn't matter what version of Windows your computer's running, or even if you're using a Mac or an iPad or even an Android smartphone or something like that, this is what the desktop's going to look like. It's going to be running Windows 7. All right. Now, I've already logged in and everything. So, again, this is the desktop that you'd be seeing. Now, along the top here, you're going to see a bar. And on that bar, you have a little pin icon. If you push, or if you click that pin, it unpins it, so it pulls it up. And if you want to get it back, you just put your cursor up there and then push the pin again. So, again, it's kind of like auto hides or not that bar at the top there. Now, under the Options button, this is where you can go ahead and exit out of the VMware. Now, the thing is when you exit out of VMware, you do not want to do just a straight disconnect. You actually want to do a log off. There's an issue with printers that people have been having where their printer's not showing up in the virtual environment because they're doing a straight disconnect instead of a log off. And again, I'm planning to do another video on how to fix the printer issue if you encounter it. But the thing is you're going to disconnect and log off. So you choose this option right here. This is like shutting down the computer, this virtual computer that's running on the servers at Real Green. Disconnecting is like turning the computer monitor off. But like I said, there's been some problems with the printing that when that happens. Okay, if you check mark this auto connect to desktop, when you get to this login prompt that says to put your login information in, when you submit it, it's automatically going to go right to this desktop. All right. If you have it unchecked, it's going to have a window pop up, which then you can choose to say I want to use RDP or PCOIP for connection protocols, which again, something you guys don't have to usually worry about too much. As well as, do you want to be full screens, little window, big window, multi-screen, which means it goes across all the screens that are in your computer. Again, sorry about that. My computer just had a little bit of hiccup. But again, like I said, you can do multiple screens, which goes across all the screens that are in your system or on your computer. But again, that's something you don't usually mess around with, only but the first time, and then once you have it set up, you're good to go. If you have like a USB memory stick or something that you want to pull into the virtual environment, you can tell it to connect a USB device, and when you click that, you'll see it's going to show you all the different USB devices that are available on my computer that I can bring into this hosted environment. Memory sticks are usually pretty good. You can choose a memory stick, it will pull it up, connect it, and you'll be able to read right off of it. External hard drives like this, the Western Digital MyBook, the Buffalo USB SATA bridge, or stuff like that, it's a little hit or miss. Some of them have been able to get them work, some of them can't. It's not something we officially support. It's one of those things, we'll give it a shot. If it works, great. If it doesn't, not much else we can do, unfortunately, because VMware is not Real Green software. But we will try to at least give you a shot. But like I said, memory sticks is the most common thing that you would check mark here. And unfortunately, again, with memory sticks, it is a little hit or miss. Different manufacturers, even different production runs, some of them will pull up right away, some of them may take a few moments, some of them don't work at all, but most of the ones I've seen have been able to work. All right, send Control Alt Delete, that will lock the desktop. Again, it's not something people usually worry about when they're done with the desktop or whatever, they're walk away from the desk, they just log off, and then once they log off, they come back and then log back. Okay, so as far as getting back to your desktop, you can hit this little dash right here, and it will minimize that hosted environment. Now, I'm doing this on my second monitor, so I don't have to worry about cleaning up all my shortcuts and stuff like that. But I still have shortcuts and stuff I can access. But like I was saying, is you can minimize it. Now, if you're a hosted customer and you're calling in for technical support, or you're calling in for fixing customers' balance or something like that, we always would rather have you log us into your computer, your actual physical computer that you're using on your day-to-day stuff. So again, this computer right here, and then we can open up the virtual environment just like you guys do. And the reason is because if you log us into the hosted environment, there are some security settings in there to prevent people from installing bad things and stuff like that. And because of those security settings, sometimes it will prevent us from clicking certain things, or we have a hard time clicking. So again, we prefer you log us into your computer, and then we'll hop on your hosted environment just like you do. All right. If you want to, you can tile it. Hit the little box right there. I'll put it in a smaller window, as well as you can hit the X. Now, again, hitting this X is a disconnect. It's not the log off. You want to do a log off, otherwise you might have some printer issues. All right. Over here, we have a couple icons. The first one is Openoffice. They were looking at possibly giving everyone Microsoft Office because that's what a Service Assistant was originally designed for. Unfortunately, it would have been very, very, very expensive. Okay, we're talking, I think, like $400 or $500 a user. So if you had a company that had 6 users, that right there is an additional $24,000 to $30,000 or $3,000. So again, it wasn't cost effective to give everyone Word or Microsoft Office. So they have slowly been changing some of the parts of the software to work with Openoffice, like custom proposals. When it first started out, custom proposals, you had a really hard time, but now they are set up to work with Openoffice. Again, I did a crash course on custom proposals if you're ever interested in that. Now, over here we also have the shortcut for Service Assistant itself. Now, more than likely yours is going to have your account number in there as a shortcut. You can always right-click and rename it, but for the most part, again, the shortcut itself is going to be the same, but it might have a slightly different name. Now, that desktop items little folder I had there, I'm actually borrowing someone's hosted login, and so I stuck their personal things into that desktop items, just simply because I don't want them to, say, hey, what are we showing all this stuff for? Now, this is one of the other technicians here at the help desk. And the reason why I had to borrow his is because when I first started working at Real Green, we didn't have hosted. And they launched it probably about 3 or 4 months after I started working here. And when they launched it, they didn't give us a login. We had a couple of test logs to play around, but they didn't actually give us a login. Well, last time they hired a batch of technicians, they gave everyone a hosted login so they can get more familiar with the host environment, because I already been there for over a year, so I kind of knew how to use it. So, but like I was saying, I'm just going to borrow his, and so I'm also going to have to blank some things out when I come across it, because again, I don't want you guys bothering him about it. So, all right, so like I was saying, is pretty much you're going to have the test data in the Openoffice. Down here, you do have Internet Explorer, so you can hit that little Internet Explorer icon. It's going to open up Internet Explorer just like on Love on your computer. Now, although you are logging into our server here at Real Green, or the server at Real Green, and then using Internet Explorer, they don't keep track of like what you're doing online, but do kind of keep an eye on what websites you go to, simply because there were some people that were going to inappropriate websites, thinking, oh, it's Real Green's computer, it's not my boss's computer, so I'm okay to do it. Well, they noticed some inappropriate websites, and they sent a message saying, hey, just to let you know, someone in the host environment's been going to these websites. Again, I don't know if it was they were stealing movies or they're looking at inappropriate material. Again, I always kind of give my trainings a heads up on there. I would feel okay to log into my bank website, because again, they don't track what you're doing. They just see where you're going, just to make sure people aren't trying to do something illegal. All right. That being said, like I said, this is pretty much like Internet Explorer, like anything else. I mean, if you want to, you can jump in here real quick, look at the weather conditions, so on and so forth. Go online, check your web-based email, that sort of thing. Now, there is, there is times when you're going to want to transfer files between the hosted environment and your computer. Now, one of the ways of doing it is the memory stick. Another way of doing it is emailing the file to yourself. Keep in mind that some email providers have a limit of how much you can email in one email, like for attachments and stuff. Usually, I think it's around 25 megabytes and stuff. I know some people have used Dropbox and stuff like that to move files back and forth. Just be aware that if you ever install anything like Dropbox in this virtual environment, or you install Google Chrome because you like Google Chrome better, once in a great while, they may have to reset the desktop back to its default settings, which means kind of recreate it. In that case, it's possible those programs might disappear because they weren't part of the original image of the setup. All right. So again, keep that in mind. That's also why I always recommend, if you do decide to keep something on your desktop, like a shortcut or a folder or files or something, you also want to keep it in the S drive, and I'll show you the S drive here in a moment. All right, so down here, this is where you can actually browse different things that are, on the hard drives they have access to. So when we hit this little button right here, it's going to open up our file browsing window, all right? And you'll see we have a couple. We have local C, we have persistent D, we have this drive right here, P, we have the carrier route, and then we have the S drive right here. Now, this drive and this drive, those are going to be like your main essay folder, like where you, like if you're doing linked documents and stuff like that. The P drive is where that main essay folder exists, and you'll see like there's a cust docs, and you can go to cust documents and see your attached documents and stuff like that. The S drive, this is your storage space. This is where you can put stuff. This does not get touched if they ever have to reset the desktop and stuff like that. And again, your data is always on a completely different server, so as far as your customer information, that stuff is stored in a different thing. That's why we have the separate drives and stuff like that. So again, as I was saying, this S drive here, this is a drive where you can actually put stuff. So if you want to keep a copy of whatever's in here on your desktop, again, I always recommend put it in the S drive. When I do my trainings, I have a default password. When they initially set the desktop, I log into it, and I'll put some information in there. I have I call it stuff for hosted training, as it has a copy of the fonts that you need to install or you want to install when you're a hosted customer. It also has some example files I use, like a company logo that I created really quick, just in case the company I'm training doesn't have their company logo yet, because either too new or they don't have a picture copy or we can't import it. I have some example documents and stuff. But again, I put it in this S drive so that way we can access it later on. Now you'll notice down here we have, like, by the way, my computer's name's Big Daddy because I'm a father, so I kind of go by Big Daddy because I'm a big guy too. So again, look at the B, C, D. Again, these are hard drives that are on my computer. All right. So if we go to the C drive here, again, these are my computer files. All right. Now, what I usually recommend doing, and the reason why, again, why I'm able to see these drives is because I'm actually going through and doing the RDP connection, the Microsoft RDP. So what I'll do is on my computer, okay. So again, here you see this is my computer right here. All right. And then I gotta blank that out. Dang it. Okay. So here's my computer right here. So what I'll do is usually I'll go in here. And again, this is my computer. This is, the brains. This C drive on Big Daddy. This computer is the brains, because it's the main hard drive. I'll actually create a new folder, and I'll call it something like for Real Green Transfer. Like so. All right. Now, once I've created this Real Green Transfer, I can now put files from my computer into that folder. And then when I come into the virtual environment, you'll see there's that folder, and I can move files back and forth. So again, it makes it easier for me to move files between the hosted environment and my local computer. Maybe someone wants a report or they want an Excel spreadsheet or something like that, an export. You can create it in the host environment and then throw it in that for Real Green Transfer, or throw it on your computer and then email it to them or something, or however you want to do it. All right. So again, these are the drives that are on your computer. Now, this carrier route data, there is a utility called Visual Route Designer, and there's a couple other parts of the software that use what's called carrier routes, and that information is linked to the person's address and it's stored under the property tab. The carrier route data is if you do need to do the import carrier route utility. This is where you can locate that information in that hosted environment. If you're a local user, meaning that you actually control the server, maybe your IT company has it on their site or you have it in your office or whatever, you'd actually have to get the United States Postal Service carrier route disk. If you need a copy, you can request from Real Green. They're free. At least right now they are, and you can request one, and then the one will get sent out to you. But usually with a carrier route, it's something you run maybe once a year. And then once it's ran, new customers will get whatever carrier route they're set up with initially. And I think I did a crash course on the carrier route utility as well. All right. So again, like I was saying, is this P drive here, that's kind of your main essay folder if you're from a conversion that used to have a local setup. If you're not, again, it's kind of where some files are stored for Service Assistant. The S drive is your personal storage space, and again, that's why I always tell people if you want to save something on the desktop, always keep it in the S drive as well. All right. Other than that, pretty much it runs just like everything else. Okay, if you want to run Service Assistant, just double click the icon. It's going to open up the login screen. You log in, do everything else. There is a Microsoft Word viewer as well as a Microsoft Excel viewer. Our hosted environment, because it's for testing and stuff, we do have a full version of MapPoint, so we could have done testing there. But now pretty much everyone's flipping over to ALKs because ALK maps are a lot better because they're more up to date, and at least in my opinion, they look a little nicer and stuff like that. But like I said, we do have an Excel viewer and a Word viewer, which will allow you to look at Word files or Excel files. Now, they can't be the newer version of them. They can't be the XLS, or they can't be the DOCX, or I'm sorry, XLSX, or the DOCX. Those are the newer formats. So if you do create something in Microsoft Word, make sure you save it as a doc file, a .doc. And the same with Openoffice. Like if you wanted to create something in Openoffice, maybe like an invoice message or something for the invoice message gallery, open up your Openoffice. There we go. Okay. So again, you'll see here is, OpenWriter. Again, it's very similar to Microsoft Word, and there is like a spreadsheet program and so on and so forth. But pretty much like what you would do is you'd create it in Openoffice and then do like a save as. And then down here is where you can tell it to save it as the Microsoft doc. .doc, the 97 2000 XP. All right. So again, like I was saying, is it does have to be a .doc file if you need to import information like a invoice message statement or statement image, so you can put sales messages and stuff on there. Or if you do custom proposals, you can save them as the Openoffice format, because like I said, they had made it a little bit more compatible. So again, like I said, I'm just kind of a brief tour of the hosted environment, and other than that, like I said, most of the part you're pretty much just going to come in here, open up the shortcut, do your service assistant thing, and then when you're done, you're going to hit start and then log off, or you can hit options, disconnect, and log off. Again, remember, you want to log off. If you don't log off, you might run into some problems with your printer. So I hope this helps. You guys have yourself a wonderful day.